Our first experience was actually, I was a women's soccer coach, and Chris was in PR at that time, and he was the guy that was following the bus in the school car. We didn't really know Chris then, but he jumped right in. He was kind of new to covering sports, and one of the funny interactions that we had early, and I'll never forget this, is we were in my hotel room, and Chris was like, "Okay, you need to explain offsides to me in soccer." He had no idea what offsides. He started to cover sports. He's like, "I need to figure out what this is." So we were there at the desk in the hotel, and I'm sitting there doing a diagram showing him what offsides is. So when he was watching the games, he would understand what was going on.
Well, I originally met Chris when I was the athletic director at Georgetown, and I've known Chris now for, I guess, going on 20 years. Worked initially with him as a conference opponent, but even then always had the greatest amount of respect for not just the amount of work that he did, but the quality of work. And I think that's one of the things that kind of sets Chris apart from a lot of his sports information peers, is that not only does he accomplish a lot, but he does it all in a very very quality manner.
My name's Charlie Balcom. I met Chris Wells right after college. When I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grow up, but I saw a job at sports information intern at Lindsey Wilson, and I applied for it, and he, for some reason, hired me and brought me in, and the rest was kind of history from there. I worked there for a year as an intern. After that, he wanted me to apply for this job as his assistant for full time, and being 23 years old, I wasn't sure I was ready to take on all the responsibilities, deal with all the sports and stuff, but he gave me the confidence in myself and the confidence in the work that I could do, and that's the kind of person that Chris Wells is. He gives confidence to other people just by backing them up and supporting them.
Chris is probably Chris and Tracy are the two hardest workers that I know in my life. My wife Tracy, but Chris is oftentimes the first person to work and the last person to leave. He is extremely professional. Does such good work for us, just in so many ways.
But I think there's two groups of people within college athletics that tend to be a little bit crazier than everybody else, and those are athletic trainers and sports information directors. But I think you got to be a little nuts just to be able to tolerate the schedule and the stress and the work demands of those two particular careers. And of all the crazy people I know in sports information, Chris may be the most sane.
I never once came to Chris with an idea of something I wanted to try or something I wanted to do, and him shut me down or say no. He'd always have my back and always want to support me, and that's one of the best characteristics you can have in a boss, is having somebody that's there that's gonna go through it with you, be up late working with you, 11 p.m. leaving press boxes, 1 a.m. writing stories in the hotel room, just having a good relationship there. But also when you're not around, them going to war for you so you don't have to, and having your back and supporting you no matter what.
I think one thing that makes Chris particularly valuable to me is I think he often sees himself as like the devil's advocate. So whatever the topic of conversation is, whatever the idea or the theme is being discussed, he always manages to see the other side of it, just to make sure that you're getting a 360-degree view.
Here's a little bit of a funny story. Chris has an administrator role with us too as assistant AD, and there was a time where we were trying to negotiate our rates with the Stretch Internet and what kind of services we get, and he got a quote for some services, and I would challenge him to go back and work on them a little bit, try and get the cost down. That's what he should do. And he kind of smiled, and he was like, I don't think we should do that. He thought, that's the price that they're giving us, that we can decide whether or not we're going to take it or leave it. And so I had to work him a little bit, and I think it got him out of his comfort zone just a bit. And I think Chris was able to get that price down for us. I think he's just a kind of very genuine person. I don't know if he felt like that was compromising who he was to try and negotiate with one of our vendors. And it's kind of okay, I ask for something, you offer me something, I decide if that's going to work or not. And I think it just killed his soul to have to go back and try and negotiate.
And he's very selfless as well. I can remember the time that he was named the National Sports Information Director of the Year. And when he found that out, the first thing he said to me when he came down to my office is like, "Hey, we got an award." It wasn't I got an award or I was named this. It was we got an award, and it didn't make sense to me at first. But you understand it later. It's not. He's not just about him. It's not about I got an award or this is me. It's something we did together, and that kind of shows that's not a great boss thing. It's a great human being thing.
I know Chris has such a passion for, especially likes broadcasting our games and telling our story, and he's so good at that as well. He has a staff of 5 people that he does a great job with mentoring them, and several of the people that have worked as interns under Chris have gone on to be professionals in the field. He's the NAI SIDA president now, which is another indication of the confidence that his colleagues have in the work that he does.
Chris is just, I can't think of anybody that would be more deserving that has a connection to the Lindsey Wilson College that would be more deserving of this award than Chris Wells.
Chris is more than deserving of this award. I mean, distinguished service. He's all about giving everything he has to that school and that community. He loves the Blue Raiders and the Lindsey Wilson College family, and he's done great things for years now, and he's going to do more great things for years to come. Chris, congratulations.
Chris is just somebody who's extremely loyal and trustworthy, and is just a really good person. And I feel that same way about his wife Amy and their entire family, and just a blessing to have them in our lives.
Please welcome the 2019 Distinguished Service Award recipient, Chris Wells.